Hello, my name is Bryce Neal. On the internet, I'm known as pretty much Bryce. Um, anyway, this is a game that we're looking at here that I made for a game jam. Um, and the game is called Take Care of the Trees, and the game jam is called Ludum Dare, and it's a 48-hour game competition. And how that works is they give you a theme, and then you have to make a game in 2 days. And this is what I made in 2 days. And it's kind of like it's running kind of slow because my camera's running or my screen software is running. But you get the idea. You're a little guy. You walk around and you can talk to people, and there's little speech things that come up, and it's sort of like a I don't really know what it is. Is it a game? Maybe it isn't. There's no lose case. Do you need a lose case for it to be a game? Anyway, sort of like what it is you're kind of walking around and you're interacting with things, and then sort of a little kind of narrative unfolds. Anyway, I spent some time with it after the jam, and it actually didn't win or even come close to winning. But I did actually, funnily enough, I placed in the music category. So, like, I actually placed. I had no, it's not like I spent all that much time on the music. I just kind of, I don't know. That's sort of the thing you do last when you only have 48 hours, unfortunately. Anyway, so I spent some time with it after the jam, and I kind of thought about it a lot and worked on it on weekends, and I just kind of wanted to give it due justice to it. Like I felt like there was something there. Like what I basically wanted to do was like make an anti-game, like make it feel like it's going to be this huge experience, like not in a sort of like troll kind of way, but just like make it sort of build up and then just sort of like, wow, that was weird. Like that wasn't what I expected. And was that, I don't know, I just kind of thought it would be fun to make a game like that. So anyway, I thought the idea was cool and I wanted to do it justice, and I felt like I didn't do it justice. So what I did was I spent some time with it, and then it turned into this, which is kind of like I had someone redo the graphics because I'm not an artist. And it sort of just made it a little more polished. Like instead of just a little chat bubble, there's like, there's a nice looking portrait and all this stuff, and I sort of polished out the story and made the game overall better, the sound better, everything. So I'm pretty proud of the way it turned out. But what I wanted to talk about in this video was some of the process stuff that I did and how I thought it turned out well and how it started off bad and all that kind of stuff. So basically what I wanted to really talk about was the level editor that I used. Okay, so it's a tile-based game, which means it's like a bunch of squares. When I originally did the first prototype for the jam, I actually used Photoshop. What you're looking at here is the level for the game, the Ludum Dare version of the game, and it was all done in Photoshop. Every single one of these tiles maps to an actual graphic of one of the ground images. So red is grass, and green is a tree, and the purple is a path. And so this was a really quick way for me to just sort of map out the level. And it worked pretty well. These blues are houses. And anyway, the problem with this, I realized as I sort of moved on to make it a little bit better, is that you can't, no human can distinguish from more than like 10 colors, maybe. And so when I started to get in different kinds of tiles, I had water, I had different kinds of caves, I had 3 different types of grass instead of just one catch-all grass tile. It became very difficult to sort of distinguish the different tiles, and not only that, but I actually started to forget which tile mapped to what. I was like, okay, so there's green. Is that a house, or is that, I couldn't remember. So I started to look around for different solutions on how I could solve this problem. One solution was I could make my own level editor, which I've done before, but it's sort of like not what you want to do, like when you want to make a game. Like you want to make a game, not a level editor, right? So, and there's exceptions to that rule, of course. Like if you're making a totally unique thing and you want total control, yes, write your own, especially if it's like a huge game that you're going to spend like years working on and you want to just perfect it. I totally get that. This was just a quick thing that I wanted to throw together to see if my idea worked, so I didn't want to build a huge level editor. Anyway, I've tried a couple, and I settled on this one here, which is called Tiled. This is totally free open source software. It's multi-platform, has support for different tile types. I believe what we're looking at here is called orthogonal. I don't know for sure. I think it is. To me, it's just flat blocks, whatever. Anyway, so what we're looking at here is the actual level for my game, and over here we have a tile set, and these are all the tiles used in the game, and so I can very easily and visually see where I'm laying things out rather than just, oh, this is green, this is blue. I can actually see what the player is going to see when they play and just kind of easily say, oh, I want a house here or there, and that looks pretty good, and whatever. And so if I kind of scroll through, you can see like this is the whole game, and there's a separate part where you're in a cave. So you actually go through this cave up here. I don't know if you can see very well. And then that takes you down here, and you kind of walk through, and that's it. And I will not show what is below that point. Anyway, there's some objects here. So these squares are different types of objects. And what that means is if there's anything in the game that needs some sort of interactivity or needed to be treated differently than just a normal tile, you can sort of go in and look what it is. This one's called Putfire, and that is just an arbitrary name that I made up. And the reason it's called that is because later in the game I put fire there. Okay. Yeah, so there's different kinds of objects, and in my code I map them all to different behavior. And you know what? This was an amazing way, rather than just in your code saying like, oh, once the player is at X34 or Y48, do this thing. Like, that is terrible practice. And some of you might know what I'm talking about, but in this case, it's as easy as like, so, I have, this is where the brother starts at the beginning if you've played the game. So basically, if I wanted to make a change, like let's say like I spent some time away from it and I was like, hey, it'd be really cool if the brother started like halfway down the map so that the player had to go explore a little bit before they found him. Well, I don't have to go and find where that number is in the code or anything. I just have to go and drag this here, and now suddenly the game is completely changed. All I have to do is save this file out. So speaking of save this file out, it saves that to a JSON file like this, and this is what your game reads in, is all this stuff, which is kind of like total nonsense when you look through it. But all you really need to do is just figure out, what's where, and then parse it in with a JSON library, which doesn't take that long. Anyway, I guess that's all I really wanted to touch on, and also I wanted to give my huge recommendation for this program, Tiled, which I'd never heard of before. I would totally use it again. It's awesome. And yeah, that's it pretty much. I guess like if this was a post-mortem, which it really isn't, I just kind of wanted to talk about this. But my game, it was fun to make, and I really liked the way it turned out. I wish I could have made it longer. I sort of thought that, like, I don't know, it was, I just thought, like, I didn't want to invest more time into it because I was worried that it wasn't a really true game, which is stupid. Like, you should never think about what you're making like that. You should never try to like put it in a genre or worry that it's not traditional enough, like all you're doing is just making a thing that people are going to be entertained by or not entertained by, and that's the only call that you should make, is that will this entertain someone or will it not entertain someone. So anyway, as far as like a post-mortem goes, I wish I would have just stuck with it and just like made it longer and just not gave a shit what anybody thought or would think of it. To be blunt. But anyway, that's all I have to say about this. I hope that any game developers out there, check this program out. It could really help you. You don't want to write your own level editor, probably. It takes too much time, and you're trying to make good games, not good software. So anyway, that's all I really have to say. I hope that was entertaining or enjoyable or informative or something. And thanks a lot for your time. Bye-bye.